In 1968, when Once Upon a Time in the West premiered, audiences only saw the brilliance of a cinematic masterpiece. But behind the dazzling lights were lives marked by tragedy. Some ended their days in despair, some were defeated by illness, and others passed away in quiet solitude. Let us revisit that journey to remember each face and honor the immortal legacy they left behind. Henry Fonda as Frank. In 1968, Henry Fonda shocked the film world when he appeared in Once Upon a Time in the West as Frank, a ruthless, cold, and calculating outlaw at the age of 63. Taking on this villainous role became a turning point, shattering his familiar image and proving his extraordinary ability to transform. It is regarded as one of the most memorable performances in Fonda's decades-long career. Born on May 16, 1905, in Grand Island, Nebraska, Henry grew up in a household ruled by a strict, distant father. That heavy atmosphere forced him, from an early age, to learn how to suppress emotions and seek refuge in the world of imagination. This reserved nature later became the foundation for his deeply introspective acting style, especially in works like The Grapes of Wrath, 1940, where he portrayed a poor yet resilient farmer. But his childhood lack of family affection left him feeling distant from his loved ones, a struggle that followed him throughout his life. Even in his relationship with his daughter, Jane Fonda, who would become a famous star but publicly criticized her father for his coldness. Henry Fonda passed away on August 12, 1982, in Los Angeles, California, at the age of 77 from heart disease. He left behind a net worth of about $20 million, largely from his vast film career with its classic works and his real estate in California. His legacy remains as one of the greatest monuments of Hollywood. Jason Robards as Manuel Cheyenne Gutierrez. When he took part in Once Upon a Time in the West in 1968, Jason Robards was only 46. With the role of Cheyenne, a romantic outlaw with hidden tragedy, he delivered a performance filled with emotion, both powerful and bittersweet. This role brought Robards closer to international audiences and marked one of the key milestones in his career. Jason Robards was born on July 26, 1922, in Chicago, Illinois, into a broken family after his father abandoned their home early on. Growing up without a father's affection shaped Robards into an independent, tough, and somewhat rebellious man. After reaching adulthood, he joined the U.S. Navy and endured fierce years in the Pacific during World War II. Witnessing the horrors of war left him hardened but also deeply haunted, and this duality gave his performances remarkable depth. In All the President's Men, 1976, Robards made a powerful impression as the executive editor of The Washington Post during the Watergate scandal, a role many believe he could not have delivered without his own life experiences. The hardships of his youth became the raw material that allowed him to inhabit his characters so convincingly, yet at the same time drove him to seek escape in alcohol, a shadow that followed him throughout his life. Jason Robards died on December 26, 2000, in Bridgeport, Connecticut, at the age of 78 from lung cancer, a disease tied to his heavy smoking habit over many decades. At the time, his net worth was around $10 million, drawn from his film career, Broadway work, and real estate in Connecticut. Despite a life filled with turmoil, Robards is still remembered as one of Hollywood's most profound and respected actors. Charles Bronson as Harmonica. In Once Upon a Time in the West, 1968, Charles Bronson transformed into Harmonica, a quiet, cold stranger carrying secrets and a thirst for revenge. At the time, he was 47 years old, entering the peak of his career. This role solidified his image as the silent yet formidable Man of Steel, helping Bronson become one of the greatest icons of the action western genre. Charles Bronson was born on November 3, 1921, in Ehrenfeld, Pennsylvania, into a poor Lithuanian immigrant family with 15 siblings. He grew up in a one-room house, living in cramped conditions and facing deprivation in every way. By the age of 10, Bronson was already working in the coal mines to help support his family, a harsh environment that exposed him to heavy labor, daily coal dust, and early respiratory problems. This difficult childhood not only forged his strong physique, but also shaped a rare, rugged coldness that would later become his signature in acting. After serving in the U.S. Air Force during World War II, he turned to the arts as an escape. Though he struggled for years in supporting roles, Bronson gradually established himself and shone in films like The Magnificent Seven, 1960, and The Great Escape, 1963. His bitter early experiences allowed him to fully inhabit silent, powerful characters, roles that made audiences feel he wasn't just acting, but reliving his harsh childhood. Charles Bronson passed away on August 30th, 2003, in Los Angeles, California, at the age of 81 due to pneumonia. He left behind a net worth of around $65 million, mostly from the Death Wish series and real estate in Malibu. Even in his final years, battling Alzheimer's and gradually losing his memories, the image of the Man of Steel remained immortal in the hearts of his fans. Lionel Stander as barman. Audiences surely still remember Lionel Stander's sly smile and distinctive gravelly voice when he played barman, the cunning saloon owner, in Once Upon a Time in the West, 1968. At the time, he was 60 years old, yet he knew how to turn a supporting role into an entertaining highlight, adding humor and liveliness to a film already steeped in darkness and drama. Lionel Stander was born on January 11, 1908, in the Bronx, New York, into a Jewish immigrant family. From an early age, he displayed a strong personality, loved debating, and was ready to speak out against injustice. Growing up in the working-class hardships of New York, combined with this rebellious spirit, shaped Stander into a resilient character, one that helped him shine on screen but also brought many challenges. During the Red Scare of the 1950s, Stander was blacklisted due to suspicions of communist leanings. This destroyed his career for 17 years, forcing him to move to Europe to find acting work and sustain his life. During this period, he witnessed many colleagues being prosecuted, experienced depression himself, and went through 3 failed marriages. Yet his persistence and refusal to give in allowed him to make a strong comeback later, particularly with his role in the TV series Heart to Heart, reviving his fame in his later years. Lionel Stander passed away on November 30th, 1994, in Los Angeles, California, at the age of 86 from lung cancer, a consequence of decades of heavy smoking. He left a net worth of around $5 million, mainly from his late career work on television and some real estate. Despite a life overshadowed by politics and personal tragedy, Stander is remembered as one of the most distinctive and unique faces of classic Hollywood. Keenan Wynn as Sheriff. At 52 years old, Keenan Wynn took on the role of Sheriff, a stern lawman, in Once Upon a Time in the West, 1968. Although a supporting character, he added depth to the story and enriched the atmosphere of the Wild West. This role was one among hundreds that defined his career, making him one of the most familiar faces of 1960s Hollywood. Born on July 27, 1916, in New York City, Keenan Wynn was the son of the legendary comedian Ed Wynn. Growing up in the shadow of such a prominent father, he faced enormous pressure to establish his own identity. Keenan's childhood was far from easy. The family's strict expectations often left him feeling not good enough, a sentiment that drove him forward but also left lasting psychological scars. As he entered the acting world, Wynn fought to escape the label of Ed Wynn's son and prove that he deserved to stand on stage on his own. This obsession helped him deliver memorable performances across numerous films, particularly in Dr. Strangelove, 1964, where he transformed a supporting role into an unforgettable highlight. The discipline instilled by his strict upbringing gave him a strong work ethic, though it also led to periods of stress and exhaustion. Keenan Wynn passed away on October 14, 1986, in Brentwood, California, at the age of 70, from pancreatic cancer. The disease was discovered late, causing prolonged suffering. which was compounded by years of overwork and a motorcycle accident in 1960 that further weakened his health. He left an estimated net worth of around $8 million, mostly from his roles in classic films and California real estate. Jack Elam as Snakey. Jack Elam delivered a memorable performance in Once Upon a Time in the West, 1968, as Snakey, a sly outlaw with a distinctive appearance marked by his crossed eyes, making the character both unique and unforgettable. At the time, he was 48 years old, and his presence added an extra layer of color to the film's ensemble of villains. Jack Elam was born on November 13, 1920, in Miami, Arizona, into a poor family. His childhood was marked by tragedy. As a young boy, he suffered a knife accident that permanently damaged one of his eyes. This crossed eye became a source of insecurity for many years, leading him to believe he would never find a place in show business. Yet this very imperfection became his signature, helping him stand out in Western villain roles. After years working as an accountant and theater manager to make ends meet, he turned to acting and quickly made his mark in cowboy films such as Rawhide and Support Your Local Sheriff, 1969. His early struggles and childhood insecurities forged a resilient spirit, allowing him to turn a flaw into a weapon for survival in Hollywood. Jack Elam passed away on October 20, 2003, in Ashland, Oregon, at the age of 82 from congestive heart failure. He left an estimated net worth of around $4 million, mostly from his long career in Western films and memorable supporting roles. Though he is gone, the image of his distinctive eyes and mischievous acting style remains an indelible mark on American cowboy cinema. Woody Strode as Stoney. In Once Upon a Time in the West, 1968, Woody Strode played Stoney, a tall, powerful black man who stood as a symbol breaking the racial stereotypes that dominated Hollywood at the time. At 54 years old, he was already recognized not only as an actor, but also as an accomplished athlete who had left his mark in multiple sports arenas. Though Stoney's screen time was limited, the role carried significant weight, reinforcing Strode's stature in American cinema. Born on July 25, 1914, in Los Angeles, California, Woody Strode grew up in a society still heavily burdened by racial discrimination. His childhood was shaped by prejudice, from playgrounds to schools, but these barriers forged his resilience. As a track and field athlete and football player, Strode possessed extraordinary physical prowess, which later became a key asset for his commanding on-screen presence. Serving in the military during World War II further strengthened his discipline and unwavering spirit. Entering the world of acting, Strode often faced limited opportunities due to the color of his skin, yet he made a lasting impression in films such as Spartacus, 1960, delivering one of the most iconic sword-fighting sequences in cinema history. His career stands as a testament to the idea that a black actor could rise in Hollywood despite systemic barriers. Woody Strode passed away on December 31, 1994, in Glendora, California, at the age of 80, succumbing to lung cancer, a consequence of long-term smoking. He left an estimated net worth of around $3 million, derived from his sports achievements, film career, and modest real estate holdings. Strode's legacy endures as one of Hollywood's pioneering black actors. Gabrielle Ferzetti as Morton. At 43, Gabrielle Ferzetti appeared as Morton in Once Upon a Time in the West, 1968, a ruthless yet ailing railroad tycoon, a role demanding a delicate balance of power and tragedy. The character of Morton further cemented Ferzetti's reputation in European and international cinema alike. Born on March 17, 1925, in Rome, Italy, to a middle-class family, Ferzetti grew up amid political instability and the shadow of World War II. These early experiences instilled in him endurance and adaptability. From a young age, he was captivated by the stage, stepping into acting with the determination to make his mark in a fiercely competitive Italian film industry. The insecurities and losses of his youth made him especially suited for complex roles, characters who could be both alluring and dark. Beyond Once Upon a Time in the West, he achieved international acclaim through Michelangelo Antonioni's L'Avventura, 1960, a groundbreaking film that solidified his global stature. Although his personal life was relatively tranquil, he endured the loss of his second wife to illness and a strained relationship with his daughter, which added weight to his later years. Gabrielle Ferzetti passed away on December 2, 2015, in Rome, Italy, at the age of 90 from natural causes. He left an estimated net worth of around $5 million, mainly from his European film roles and property in Rome. Ferzetti is remembered as one of the most elegant and enduring stars of 20th-century Italian cinema, Paulo Stoppa as Sam. In Once Upon a Time in the West, 1968, Paulo Stoppa portrayed Sam, a loyal and gentle servant whose small role helped soften the film's dark, violent canvas. His presence brought a human touch, a sense of warmth contrasting with the bloody gunfights. At 62 years old, Stoppa was already a seasoned Italian actor with decades of stage and screen experience, admired for his naturalistic yet deeply emotional performances. Born on June 6, 1906, in Rome, Italy, Paulo Stoppa grew up in a poor family. The hardships of his childhood forced him to work from an early age to support his parents, while nurturing an artistic dream as a path out of poverty. Without the advantage of wealth or connections, Stoppa began his career in minor, often uncredited roles, seizing every small opportunity to learn and prove himself. These early struggles honed his patience and shaped his ability to fully inhabit the lives of ordinary, vulnerable characters. His own experiences of deprivation gave authenticity to his performances, making audiences believe in every role he took on. Through persistent effort, he gradually earned recognition, appearing in celebrated Italian films such as Miracolo a Milano, 1951, and Rocco e i Suoi Fratelli, 1960, where he conveyed the depth of a man who had known hardship and loss. Paulo Stoppa passed away on May 1, 1988, in Rome, Italy, at the age of 81 from natural causes. He left an estimated net worth of around $2 million, accumulated through a lifetime in theater, cinema, and Italian television. Al Mulock as Knuckles. In Once Upon a Time in the West, 1968, Al Mulock appeared as Knuckles, a member of the Notorious Gang, at the age of 42. Though a brief supporting role, Knuckles helped establish an immediate sense of menace, setting the tone for the film's tension right from the opening scenes. Born on June 30, 1926, in Toronto, Canada, Mulock grew up in a seemingly stable middle-class family, yet his childhood was far from peaceful. He left home early to support himself, juggling odd jobs while nurturing dreams of performing. His career took him from Canada to Europe, often landing small, unnamed roles. The instability and constant sense of being on the outside shaped his psyche, feeding both insecurity and the raw edge that would define his acting. This life experience allowed him to portray villains with a gritty, authentic intensity. Before Once Upon a Time in the West, he appeared in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966, where his icy gaze in a fleeting role left a lasting impression. Yet beneath the talent lay a man shadowed by loneliness and depression, a darkness that followed him throughout his career. Al Mulock died on May 13, 1968, in Guadix, Spain, at the age of 41, by suicide while filming. His estimated net worth was around $500,000, primarily from his work in spaghetti westerns. Benito Stephanelli as Frank's lieutenant. In Once Upon a Time in the West, 1968, Benito Stephanelli played Frank's lieutenant, a ruthless, unwavering enforcer who highlighted the gang's menace on screen. At 40, Stephanelli was already a familiar face to fans of the spaghetti western genre. Born on September 2, 1928, in Cividale del Friuli, Italy, Stephanelli grew up in a working-class family during the post-war years. The hardships of his youth forced him to build strength and resilience early on, seeing physical power as a shield for survival. Entering cinema, he leveraged his imposing appearance to play outlaws and deadly gunmen. The scars of a tough upbringing became invaluable to his craft, bringing realism to the roles he inhabited. Before his work in Once Upon a Time in the West, Stephanelli had already etched his name in the genre with memorable appearances in A Fistful of Dollars, 1964, and For a Few Dollars More, 1965. His ability to portray a chilling villain, while still hinting at the humanity beneath the surface, made him one of Leone's favorite go-to actors for crafting fearsome yet believable antagonists. Many noted that the evil he projected on screen often mirrored the harsh realities and stern faces he had grown up observing, giving his performances a quiet, unsettling truth. Benito Stephanelli passed away on December 18, 1999, in Rome, Italy, at the age of 71, succumbing to a sudden heart attack. He left behind an estimated net worth of around $1 million, built from decades of steady work in Italian westerns and other supporting film roles. Though often seen only for fleeting moments on screen, Stephanelli's presence lingered long after the credits rolled, cementing his legacy as one of the genre's most formidable and authentic character actors. Claudia Cardinale as Jill McBain. Claudia Cardinale shone as Jill McBain, the film's resilient yet grieving widow, in Once Upon a Time in the West, 1968. At just 30, her portrayal added profound emotional depth to the story, cementing Cardinale's status as one of Europe's leading screen icons. Born on April 15, 1938, in Tunis, Tunisia, to an Italian family, Cardinale's youth unfolded under French colonial rule, a time of cultural tension and upheaval. At 17, she endured a devastating trauma when she was assaulted, giving birth to a son in secrecy, a painful secret she kept for 19 years. These early hardships shaped her emotional sensitivity and allowed her to inhabit complex, wounded female characters with authenticity. As she entered Italian cinema, Cardinale quickly stood out for both her talent and striking beauty, appearing in Fellini's 8½, 1963, a European cinematic masterpiece. Yet she had to constantly navigate the pressures of being labeled a sex symbol and contend with gender biases in the film industry. The combination of a turbulent childhood and professional challenges forged a woman who was both proud and vulnerable, a true icon of European cinema. As of 2025, Claudia Cardinale is 87 years old and remains in good health. Her estimated net worth is around $10 million, accumulated through her classic films and Italian real estate. Despite the trials of her life, she is celebrated as one of the greatest European actresses of the 20th century. Robert Hussein as member of Frank's gang. At 41, Robert Hussein took on a brief but memorable role as a member of Frank's gang in Once Upon a Time in the West, 1968. Though his screen time was short, his presence brought a touch of French cinematic flair to the spaghetti western, highlighting a European star stepping into an iconic genre. Born on December 30, 1927, in Paris, France, Hussein came from an artistic immigrant family, his father a musician, his mother an actress, but his childhood was far from easy. Growing up in war-torn and socially unstable France, he had to learn self-reliance early. These formative experiences nurtured a deep emotional intelligence that would later define his acting. By the 1950s, Hussein had made a name for himself in French noir films, notably Les Salauds vont en enfer, 1955, which he both starred in and co-wrote. The combination of a challenging childhood, wartime anxieties, and an artistic environment shaped Hussein into a multifaceted talent: actor, director, and screenwriter, a leading figure in post-war French cinema. Robert Hussein passed away on December 31, 2020, in Issy-les-Nancy, France, at the age of 93 due to complications from COVID-19. His estimated net worth was around $6 million, amassed over a 6-decade career in film, theater, and French real estate. Spartaco Conversi as member of Frank's gang. Spartaco Conversi appeared in Once Upon a Time in the West, 1968, at the age of 52, playing a member of Frank's gang. Though his role was brief, it helped underscore the danger and ruthlessness of the gang. Born on October 6, 1916, in Rome, Italy, Conversi grew up during Italy's war-torn, impoverished years. His childhood was marked by scarcity and uncertainty, experiences that eventually drew him to the stage as both an escape and a path toward the film industry. While he mostly appeared in supporting roles, Conversi was recognized for his professionalism, versatility, and perseverance. Spartaco Conversi passed away on June 7, 1989, in Rome, Italy, at the age of 72 due to natural causes. He left an estimated net worth of around $800,000, earned primarily through a long career in Italian cinema with dozens of supporting roles. Time may take them away, but their legacies endure. Among these tragic and compelling stories, which one touches you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to continue exploring the hidden lives behind cinema's legends.